Good evening, everyone. Sorry we're a few minutes late tonight. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone to please silence your cell phones and also remind everyone that council meetings are live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. I now call the May 19th, 2026 regular council meeting to order. Please note that Councillor Bond and our city attorney are attending the meeting remotely. The chair would entertain a motion to, by consent minute action, excuse the absence of Councillor Larson. Moved by Councillor Pollock, seconded by Councillor Haskins. Please cast your vote. Councillor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all councillors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please read the consent minute approval titles.
Approving the minutes of the 2026 regular council meeting and the May 5th, 2026 executive session.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda items just read.
Second.
Moved by Councillor McIntosh, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any abstentions? Please cast your vote. Councillor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all councillors voting aye, the motion passes.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the May 19th, 2026 bills and claims as audited by City Manager Jordan.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Pollock, seconded by Councillor McIntosh. Any abstentions? Please cast your vote. Councillor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all councillors voting aye, the motion passes.
Tonight, we would like to welcome Ryan McCormick, Casper Community Tennis Association President, and all the other members of the Tennis Association that are here in the community to our meeting tonight. I ask you to come forward, say a few words, and then I will read a proclamation. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. I'm going to turn the mic over to Ryan in just a couple of minutes. I did want to take this opportunity during National Tennis Month to give a shout out to a project that's very near and dear to my heart, Washington Park Revival. So of course you all know that I've been working on the Washington Park Revival since 2022 when we submitted our very first grant application to the Land and Water Conservation Fund to begin important work in that park. Through those funds and other contributions, we've been able to replace the ball field lighting at Washington Park Ball Field, convert 2 of the existing tennis courts into pickleball courts, which will be surfaced quickly. And right now we're wrapping up the construction of the tennis courts. Of course, Washington Park Bandshell is under design right now for a groundbreaking that's anticipated next summer. And we are also anticipating an award for Phase 4 of the Washington Park Revival later this year, which will improve the sled hill and the west side of the park. And although all of those things are very exciting and we love Washington Park as a whole, because it is National Tennis Month, we want to focus a little bit on the courts. So as we celebrate National Tennis Month, we're reminded that tennis is much more than a game. It's a powerful, accessible way to build healthier, stronger communities, especially for our youth. The city of Casper, particularly my department in Parks and Rec, is deeply committed to providing low barrier access to sports and healthy activities for all of our residents. Tennis plays a vital role in that mission. Unlike many sports that require expensive equipment, travel teams, or facility fees, tennis is one of the most affordable and accessible activities in the country, often played on public courts at little to no cost for families. At the same time, tennis delivers tremendous value as a public investment. Compared to many other sports facilities, tennis courts are relatively low maintenance, long-lasting, in fact, they're expected to last 25 to 40 years with proper care, and can support a wide range of programming for all ages and abilities without significant ongoing costs. That makes tennis not only a healthy choice for individuals, but a sustainable choice for our community. Health benefits of tennis are undeniable. Studies show that tennis improves cardiovascular health, coordination, and strength, while also sharpening focus, building confidence, and teaching discipline and sportsmanship. Like other youth sports, tennis also creates safe, structured environments where young people can grow, connect, and thrive. Here in Casper, interest in youth tennis continues to grow, with hundreds of young athletes participating in schools, city programs, and tournaments each year. But the community's ability to meet that demand has been changing by a shrinking inventory of public courts. Historically, Casper had 14 city-owned tennis courts across 5 different parks in the community. Today, due to aging infrastructure and changing uses, very few remain. In fact, currently, only 2 city-owned courts exist, and they're both at Washington Park in pretty poor condition. However, it is notable that Washington Park has had tennis infrastructure since the 1930s, so it's pretty appropriate that the courts exist there. So the fact that we're going from 14 to 6 fully public city-owned courts, I think is the reason why so many people are excited about the Washington Park Tennis Course expansion project, including my own staff. With the construction of 6 new high-quality courts, we're creating a modern centralized facility that expands opportunity. So again, while the city is going from 14 city-owned courts to 6 city-owned courts, when you couple that with the 10 courts at Highland Park that are owned and operated by the school district, we are creating outdoor courts that will support youth programs, school partnerships, and tournaments that attract regional competitors while providing a welcoming space for players of all ages and all abilities. Most importantly, they'll provide access to a sport that builds healthy bodies, strong minds, and lasting connections, and access to a positive, affordable activity that reflects our commitment to the well-being of every resident in Casper. So this National Tennis Month, we're not just celebrating the sport, we're celebrating our investment in a healthier, more connected future for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Zulema.
All right, so real quick, first, thank you, Mayor, council members, for the proclamation. It just is a good thing for us kicking off May. It's National Tennis Month. It's a big push from USTA, and we're just kind of a little branch of that, being the Casper Community Tennis Association. So, and then the other thing, we're really, well, as she very well put out there, we're very pleased and can't wait for those Washington Park courts to get going. It adds a little bit more infrastructure, so when schools using their courts, then you have no other courts. Sometimes the schools use those too, so they can host bigger events as well. So I know they had a little bit tight schedules last year, even without having all the courts they needed. So that gets kind of interesting. But yeah, so the other thing that I think is really cool, the way that you guys were able to do it, and that's how you guys are able to raise funds for this. So everyone looks at it as a big budget to the city, and it is, don't get me wrong, but it's really good to see that you guys are able to implement different grants, water conservation grant, USTA grant through them, and then the Daniels Fund, and now we're getting another one from Wyoming Tennis Association, which is a $10,000 match. So we're trying to get, and we have many families that donated in to try and get to that match for that. So it's good to see the community putting forth their foot into the game too, to try and get these courts up and going. In closing, the big thing is National Tennis Month is we all play, everyone can play tennis. Some people say it's a hard sport to play, but anyone can play it. It's all levels. We have beginning levels. You see it. Last year we had our very first beginning level tournament that the beginners went and played in Laramie in a tournament or a league. So that was exciting to see. They're always trying to kick off new things. And that's a big push from USTA as well as the beginners to get them going into it. So it's been really fun. Some of the families that have donated in, I think it's good to recognize them as well. So I'll just run through the family names real quick. So the Emery family, Havasie family, Rubel family, Collier family, Strand family, Day family, Keller family, and then the McCormick family has all donated into this to try and help with that. So I really appreciate you guys doing this for us, and look forward to it next year as well.
Appreciate it. So Ryan, I'm gonna have you come up here with me.
Okay. Can we have everyone come up for a quick picture? Yeah.
Not everybody. Yes. All right. So in all my years, this is the biggest group I think I've ever done a proclamation for, or that I've ever seen. So you guys win. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and read this proclamation. Whereas the USTA, founded on May 21st, 1881, in New York City, New York, is the nonprofit national governing board for tennis in the United States and leads the promotion and growth of the sport at every level of play, from beginners to professionals at the US Open. And whereas the USTA, which has over 680,000 members across the country, proudly partners with local tennis programs, such as those offered by the city of Casper, the Natrona County School District, and the Casper Community Tennis Association, to showcase the important health, social, and educational benefits of tennis and make the sport available to everyone regardless of age, environment, condition, or ability. And whereas the latest research by the Physical Activity Council shows that more than 27.3 million Americans played tennis in 2025, a 6% increase in participation from the previous year. This represents the highest on record and marks 6 consecutive years of growth, with participation increasing by 54% since 2019 and the highest number of players since the PAC study began in 2007. And whereas by increasing the accessibility of tennis for citizens of Casper of all ages and abilities through the construction of tennis facilities like the Casper Tennis Complex and Washington Park tennis courts, as well as the development and implementation of local tennis programming, the USTA, City of Casper, NCSD, and CCTA have contributed to making our community a happier and healthier place. Therefore, I, Ray Pacheco, Mayor of the City of Casper, Wyoming, do join the USTA in its annual designation and hereby proclaim May 26th as National Tennis Month. And I encourage the players, the organizations, the facilities, the retailers, and the more to promote local programs and activities at parks and facilities throughout Casper to showcase tennis and spread the word about the sport and its benefits, and to help players and non-players alike find courts and play opportunities in our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Casper to be affixed this 19th day of May 2026. Thank you again, everybody. Okay, we have another proclamation. We would like to welcome Andrea and Will Dinafrio, I hope I said that correctly, to come forward and to accept a proclamation for ALS Awareness Month. Do you guys want to say anything real quick? You don't? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Turn the other one off. All right. So whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as, it is, I even practice it, where's Jackie at? Also known as Lou Gehrig disease, is a progressive and fatal neurological disorder that attacks nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, gradually impairing a person's ability to move, speak, swallow, and breathe. And whereas approximately 5,000 individuals are diagnosed with ALS each year, and the disease affects people of all races, ages, gender, and backgrounds with no cause, prevention, or cure. And whereas many individuals in Wyoming living with ALS, along with their families, rely on specialized care, equipment, and ongoing support, yet often face barriers to accessing these services due to cost, limited insurance coverage, distance, and availability. And whereas Wyoming resident John D'Onofrio tragically passed away on March 21st, 2025 at the age of 56, following a brief but courageous battle with ALS. Whereas John lived his life in service to others, demonstrating kindness and compassion to all he encountered, and offering unwavering love and support to his wife Andrea and his son Will. And whereas John's legacy endures through continued efforts to raise awareness of this devastating disease, and through the compassion and understanding shared by all who knew and loved him. Now, therefore, I, Ray Pacheco, Mayor of Casper, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month in our community, and I encourage all our citizens to honor the life and legacy of John by reflecting on his compassion, strength, and service to others, and by joining in efforts to raise awareness, promote early recognition, and support those affected by ALS in our community and throughout Wyoming. Let us stand together in hope for improved treatments, greater access to care, and ultimately a cure, while continuing to offer understanding, respect, and support to all individuals and families facing ALS. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the city of Casper, Wyoming, to be affixed this 19th day in May 2026. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Good to see you too. Will? Guys, I get that too. Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Will. Thanks, Jackie. Now is the time that we invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak with the council to come forward. This portion of the meeting is dedicated to the public to allow them time to discuss matters of public interest and to voice their concerns. We ask, please state your name, direct all questions and comments to the mayor. No personal obscenities or threats will be tolerated. Council will not respond to any personnel matters. Those will all be referred to our city manager. Councilors may ask clarifying questions, but if they choose to respond to matters, they will do so during the scheduled council response time following communications with persons present. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes, and no time extensions will be permitted. Please note that public hearings and ordinances each have their own separate comment periods. Mr. Schriftman.
Good evening, Mayor. I was just listening to the pre-meeting meeting and have a little question. Who is most addicted to smoking, drinking, and gambling? Government to pay for revenue, to pay for addictions to smoking, drinking, and gambling. I wish council good luck with the work that you're doing on the ordinance and look forward to the results on that. And this general election, of course, we're going to have a vote on the optional 1% sales tax. And we get that chance every couple of years. And so it will, if it's approved, then we're going to be at 5%. Of course, we're at 6 now. And by the way, I just had another car repair, $900. Thank me, another $54 for sales tax. recently, April, I got a copy of the survey that was done, and I understand that $16,000 was the cost for the survey and the analysis, and that's shared between the county and the city. And hopefully that'll give you some good information on where we go forward. I'm not aware, maybe somebody can tell me whether there's any statutes of state law restricting how that 1% can be used. If it's restricted, or if there's that council can totally decide how to use the money. And I'm hoping that the council will look closely at the results of that. In addition, you know, when we spend $16,000 of taxpayer money to find out what taxpayers want to spend their tax dollars on, I used to do surveys for government municipal organizations with the HR departments, and I'd be glad to help on the next one, and maybe, and I'd be glad to do it for free. But we'll see what happens this fall, and look forward to results of this survey. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Schriftman?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Anybody else wish to speak to the council? Good evening.
Hello, Mayor Pacheco and council members. My name is Kylene Stevenson Braxton. This is Christy Bussey. We are co-presidents of the Downtown Casper Business Association, and we're here tonight on behalf of our member businesses and also our downtown patrons. So we would like to propose that the council clarify the city's open container guidelines, and we have some maps here. We appreciate your support in extending open container hours for downtown daytime events such as Crazy Days. At last week's session, we heard that no adjustment would be made to the open container boundary. We respectfully ask the council to reconsider that position in favor of a boundary that provides equity for all business owners within the downtown retail core. To reduce confusion around both the boundary and participating liquor licenses, the DCBA is proposing two changes. Together, they would simplify the guidelines and reduce the need for annual revisions. Change one, adjusts the boundary. Currently, retailers along Center and Walcott between 2nd Street and 1st Street are excluded from the open container boundary, even though they are part of the core downtown district. We ask the council to adopt the boundary adjustment shown in blue on the proposed map. It is a limited extension that would create a boundary that includes all business owners and provides clarity for the patrons at events. And I did want to just point out that someone could come out of Backwards or Mountain Hops and go 3 of the 4 ways and be within legal limits, but choose 1 of the 4 ways and be outside of it. We feel like that is confusing to patrons. Change 2, redefine premises. Currently, 2 different liquor license structures affect participation in the open container area. One allows patrons to leave the establishment and enter the boundary. The other requires patrons to remain on licensed premises. The DCBA asks the City Council to request that the City Attorney redefine premises, sorry, so loud, to mean the open container boundary rather than the individual establishment. That change would allow patrons of all establishments to participate under the same guidelines, reducing confusion and creating a consistent policy for businesses. Together, these 2 changes would provide clarity and consistency to the open container policy and reduce confusion for businesses and patrons. It would minimize the need for future annual adjustments. We believe this approach can be implemented without adding operational burden to the city or the Casper Police Department. Thank you for your consideration. And are there any questions?
Hold on. Anybody have any questions? Counselor Sweeney?
Thanks for coming tonight. So when you talk about premise, are you talking used on ones versus the brewery at Second in Center? Is that?
I think it's more about having the boundary determine premises as opposed to businesses themselves.
Okay.
To redefine premises to be a boundary that's an accepted boundary as opposed to defining it based upon the bars and their liquor licenses and where they're located.
I guess I'm not quite tracking on that, but because if you open it up to any premise, because it's tied to a specific kind of liquor license versus bar grill. So is that what you're?
I guess like on the map, when you look at the map,
Mhm.
this whole, the rail trail and the Midwest on that, there's no bars that are participating. And so it's more of encompassing the space of downtown than this business that provides in this area.
Okay.
It's more just the downtown premises. So your Art Walk people could go down to Walcott Galleria and go in there and not be out of the bounds, out of the premises that's allowed.
Okay.
And as an example, Councilman Sweeney, my business is not located adjacent to a bar, but I am included in the boundary. So there's some arbitrariness to that boundary.
Anything else,
Okay.
Counselor?
So I was and still am in favor of your teal line extensions. I'm not in favor of talking about premise, but I was. I think I was about the only one in favor of trying to run it down to at least a half a block down both Walcott and Center. I had also mentioned about David in order for the new operation going into where Frontier, because they have a window that possibly opens on David, but I didn't get support. But maybe tonight there might be a different look at it. So appreciate you coming.
We appreciate your consideration.
Any other questions? Okay, so stick around. We might have some comments for you guys.
Okay.
Anybody else wish to speak to council? Okay. Thank you. At this time, councilors who would like to briefly respond to any of the matters that were brought up during this time, open that up. Councilor Pollack.
Thank you very much. I first to Mr. Schriftman, in terms of the statute around the general purpose tax and what it can be used for, it's a general purpose tax, so it can be directed by council for any number of uses within operations, capital, et cetera. So I think there's been a variety of ways that we've seen that used historically. And it's my understanding that unlike a specific purpose tax, like what we are just getting ready to conclude here, in the city of Casper, it is not defined in the same way where you have specific projects that have a specific dollar amount raised. It is directed by council for needed operations or capital. And then I ordinarily recuse entirely from this whole conversation, but I just think there's a few items that are being missed that I think are not specifically related to my business, but related to the philosophy and the concept behind open container and the reason we did this in the first place. I think we've sort of taken, in my opinion, a flawed approach to defining the boundary from the beginning, almost sort of creating like a bar crawl type atmosphere where it's like, here's a place you can get a drink and here's the next spot and here's the next spot and here's the next spot. And I don't think that's the point of allowing open container downtown in the first place. I think the point is to activate downtown, and that includes all the retail and using open container just as a way to help people travel more freely around downtown while they're enjoying beverages and visiting retail locations. And so I really, if I can make a recommendation, I won't be voting on it, of course, but I really think the boundary should be defined by the retail center and the retail density that we're dealing with throughout downtown and the businesses that are participating in the various downtown events and things that happen. So I think it's sort of been flawed from the beginning, and we have to keep kind of piecemealing it together because we've sort of defined it by where is the next spot that somebody could conceivably get a beverage. And I just think that's at its core the wrong way to approach it. So I would just say that. And then to Councillor Sweeney's point about the premise, I also wonder if there's a flaw there as well, because when you serve for off-premise consumption, that is in a sealed container that you could conceivably put in your car and drive to your home and consume. That's off-premise consumption. On-premise consumption is a beverage that is ready to drink that you are going to be consuming. And so even when license holders that are selling for off-premise, that are able to sell for off-premise consumption, serve drinks to folks participating in open container, that is not packaged for off-premise consumption. That is a open cup of beer or cocktail. So I think those, this is, again, like I think the attorney needs to review it. I'm not an expert in this. It's heavily influenced and tied up in state statute and what their definitions are. But I would contend that what we are doing down there is not selling for off-premise consumption. So that would be what I have to offer. Beyond that, I hope to stay out of this. I try to stay out of this because I am a participant, but I do think that there are just conceptually a couple of things that are not being considered fully by the council as we talk about this. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments? Yeah, Councillor Haskins.
I don't love following Amber because she's way more knowledgeable. And also reasons I think Pat might have mentioned a time or three, we wish you would always not leave the room. But I'm just saying, she knows her stuff. I kind of got the impression in the conversation that there wasn't anyone who felt super strongly at the DDA about making any changes the day of. And maybe I misunderstood, but I will falter with you a little bit, Pat. I didn't fully disagree with you on the extensions of the teal here. I was thinking half one other business that cared, I would be open to having the conversation again. And now that the premise versus off premise has been tweaked a little bit in my brain, I would suggest that I would be willing to have the conversation again just to make things complicated.
Councillor Sweeney.
Thank you, Mayor. So hopefully so thanks for actually listening on previous comment. I really would appreciate Amber's take on different things in particular, and then recuse herself. The legislature does this, so you participate in the conversation, but then you recuse yourself on the vote. Not influencing, and tonight was a great example of why I love her input. So very knowledgeable and can put it succinctly pretty quickly. So where it takes me half an hour. So, but thank you for that. On that issue, I don't know what it would take to amend the boundaries, but I know we discussed that, but I like their version. I don't know if it needs to go clear to First Street, but then that gets a little questionable if we didn't go clear to First Street. So we'll come back to that. And then on the other issue on the 5th cent, we vote on that every 4 years, and not every couple. So that's 4 years. And yes, it's coming up. And yes, I hope everybody will support the 5th cent. It's passed very well over the last, since 1974. At the beginning, it's my understanding it was to be used for, I won't call it capital expenses, but capital expenses and police cars, fire trucks, those type, that got changed. Casper, however, over the years has chose to utilize those funds not for direct operation, but to pay for police cars, fire trucks, infrastructure needs, keeping our water rates down by subsidizing. Also, years ago, the portion of it was decided to go to nonprofits. I'll use one in particular as an example, the Youth Crisis Center in particular. Where would our police department have to go with those youth that are in crisis other than lock them up in the detention center, which isn't the right answer in my mind. So I totally believe the nonprofits, which has been criticized, is a correct use. I think I've got an uphill battle on that one this go around, but I'll still stress that that's needed in an appropriate use. And I think that was it. Hopefully I touched on 3 things there. So thank you, Mayor.
You bet. So during the round the table, if somebody would like to make the motion to, or not a motion, but make a suggestion to bring back the boundaries on a work session, that's what I will ask, so we can have a further discussion. Okay. So what we'll probably do now, and we talk about that, is if someone wants to bring this forward for a work session and we give it a thumbs up on that, then it will be brought forward to talk about extending that. You bet. And so you'll probably know by the end of the meeting tonight. You don't have to stay till the whole thing, because I don't want to, get you all excited about our meetings, but we'll hopefully have something, and if somebody wants to bring it on a work session. You betcha. Thank you, everyone who came up. Please read the consent agenda titles.
Establish June 2nd, 2026 as the public hearing date for consideration of an ordinance approving a temporary moratorium on the establishment of new gambling uses in the city of Casper, Wyoming, and an ordinance amending Chapter 10.36.031 mobile vendor parking of the Casper Municipal Code.
Thank you. The chair to entertain a motion to, by minute action, establish the public hearing. Moved by Councilor McIntosh, seconded by Councilor Sweeney. Any abstentions or nay votes? Please cast your vote. Councilor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of a resolution amendment to the original adopted budget. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Jill Johnson to Janine Jordan, dated May 12th, 2026. Exhibit number 2, affidavit of publication from the Casper Star Tribune, dated May 11th, 2026.
Thank you. Madam City Manager, do you have a report?
Mayor, there's a full report in the packet. I have nothing additional to add for the public hearing.
Thank you so much. Council will now listen to public comments. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the resolution to please approach the lectern. Anybody who wishes to speak in favor. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the resolution to please approach the lectern. Good evening.
Good evening. Well, Schriftman again. I'm not necessarily opposed to the amendment, but I do have some concerns. In your packet on page, I think it's 111, it's a little hard to read, but it looks like we're going to 344 million for if this amendment is passed. And of course, as I've said before, that includes carryover the numerous capital projects that the city's doing. In the memo from April 29th and your work session, number 4, subsidized fund changes. 2 in particular that I'm concerned about. One is the ice arena, which had reduced revenue and increased operation expense. So there's an additional subsidy of $111,630. And Hogadon, of course, we had a tough winter. Now we have winter again in May, but that's $450,000. My concern is with the new capital projects that have been approved, the ice arena expansion, the lift at Hogadon, we need to really focus on how to increase revenue. Because if we continue in the last 3 years, Hogadon in particular, expenses went up, but revenue went down. And that had nothing to do with this winter. It was the previous year. So I just want to make sure that council is focusing on that and staff to see what we can do to, I don't like to see rates raised, but maybe there's ways we can improve the number of participants and keep some of the costs down for the taxpayers. So those are my comments.
Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Schriftman, for the comments. I would agree with some of them if you've caught my previous comments on my worries about Hogadon going into the future. My question is, I can't remember if you were at our meeting. Did you happen to catch the context our Parks and Public Facilities Director provided regarding the skating rink in regards to the fact that the, for folks that were following, we had quite a bit of controversy last year with the hockey team, and as a result, it led to a lot of scheduling snafus and stuff like that. And so unfortunately, the Warbirds controversy kind of messed up the schedule and didn't allow us to schedule as much activities as we would have otherwise. So that made a lot of sense to me since that was, something that we worked through over the course of several months. And yeah, like you mentioned, terrible winter for skiing and snow, skiing and snowboarding. And I don't imagine we're going to get many better ones. So I would agree with your sentiments to a certain extent in regards to Hogadon and us, needing to be open-minded in how we approach that in the future.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Councilman. Yes, I attended that meeting talking about the warbirds and the difficulty there. There's more to it, obviously, with the equipment that needs to be replaced and operational costs and that kind of thing. And I know the Park and Recreation Director is working on that, so I appreciate that.
Any other follow-up? Great. Thank you, Mr. Schriftman. Appreciate it. Anybody else wish to speak in opposition? There being no others to speak for or against the resolution, I now declare the public hearing closed. Please read the resolution by title only.
Amending the current budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, Third Amendment to the original adopted budget.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution just read.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Pollock, seconded by Councillor Haskins. Any discussion by the council? Okay. Chair would entertain please cast your vote. Councillor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of a resolution authorizing a demolition lien to be levied at 1169 North Jackson Street. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Eric Nelson to Janine Jordan, dated April 12th, 2026. Exhibit number 2, affidavit of publication from the Casper Star Tribune, dated May 11th, 2026.
Thank you. Madam City Manager, do you have anything to report?
I do not, Mayor.
Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers are allowed. This time, I ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of this resolution to please approach the lectern. Anybody in favor? At this time, I would ask individuals who wish to speak in opposition to this resolution to please approach the lectern. Anybody in opposition? There being no one to speak for or against the resolution, I now declare the public hearing closed. Please read the resolution by title only.
Authorizing a demolition lien in the amount of $7,024.50 to be levied on real property located at 1169 North Jackson Street, for Wyoming.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution just read. Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councillor McIntosh. Any discussion by the council? Please cast your vote. Councillor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Oh, was it an aye? Okay. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of an application for a new bar and grill liquor license, number 1414 for Sparks. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Fleur Tremble to Janine Jordan, dated May 6, 2026. Exhibit number 2, affidavit of website publication dated May 19th, 2026. Exhibit number 3, affidavit of publication from the Casper Star Tribune dated May 18th, 2026. Exhibit number 4, liquor license application filed with the city clerk on April 17th, 2026.
Thank you. Madam City Manager, do you have any report?
Nothing additional, Mayor.
Thank you. Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers are allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of new bar and grill liquor license number 14 to please approach the lectern. Anybody wish to speak in favor? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. My name is Ben Gruner. I'm my brother and I and our niece are planning to operate the new Sparks location at 150 West 2nd Street. So we hope that you guys will pass this and allow us to operate our new business that will bring some nice things to downtown Casper. So thank you.
Awesome. Any questions? Oh, yeah, Mr. Gruner, would you come on up? I think Councilor Sweeney had a question for you.
You must not have that.
No, I just wanted to thank you for believing in downtown, and I think it'll be a great addition. Unfortunately, I'm with the Ribbon Chop House now going in a whole different direction with a private foundation, which is a great purpose, but great location also for a bar and restaurant.
Yeah.
So anyway, greatly appreciate everything you guys do for our community, and I think it'll be a great location. Only question I've got, so you're putting a full kitchen?
Yes, we're working on installing a full kitchen in there so that we can provide food services to our clients.
And one last question, is the city our city staff been working well?
So far, there hasn't been really any issues. The biggest issues was the amount of regulation on architects and design and stuff like that. So that's really held us up quite a bit, which I understand on most projects of a larger scale. Our project's pretty small. So our kitchen's about 17 by 10 foot. So it's pretty small. So to put all the regulations in place, we would be done with it currently if we didn't have to go through architectural review and things like that. So it has cost us considerable time and delay, but we understand why that is in place. But I don't really have any complaints, but it does take a little bit longer when you have to sort out all the architects and things like that, where on a project basically the size of a shed, I call it a taco closet, it is not too hard to figure out, but other than that, everything's been fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate knowing that.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Ben, for those notes. I personally would be curious, we are bound by international building codes as, inherited, once the state passes them, we're mandated to follow suit. But if there's anything beyond the scope of those international building codes that is city ordinance specific that is burdensome in development, I would certainly welcome and want to be aware of those things. So if you have notes or recommendations for us to consider as far as refining, ordinances, I would love to hear them.
I think once we get this project completed, I'd be glad to comment on that a little bit more, because I'll have a little bit more understanding of that. Nuances work together. And I think in the interest of the city of Casper and certainly Wyoming in general, entrepreneurs face a lot of problems when going in to start a new business and trying to do things. And it's in the interest of the public and the government to help them get their business on the right track, build the right thing, do things correctly, but do it in a speed that doesn't cost them extra costs. One of the things that we saw quickly, and it's not reflective of the city of Casper at all, but the architect services we originally asked for quotes on were almost 10 times what we ended up going with, and it's the exact same amount of work that we asked for. So being a business person and knowing what something takes to do, and if you didn't know that, say you were a brand new entrepreneur, a young person trying to start a business, and you just trust people, your likelihood of success is pretty low. So I think some basic guidelines on that kind of stuff. I think the city knows what they want and the state knows what they need for construction and things like that. I think there should be some really positive conversation about how we build small businesses and certain square footages of certain things that make the application of new businesses, especially restaurants and bar and grills and things like that, or very small businesses. I think we could all work together a little bit better to make those costs come down so they aren't deterrent to people starting new businesses, because it's very important that we start new businesses in this community. So
Welcome and look forward to that feedback. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it. Yep. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the new bar and grill license, number 14, to please approach the lectern. Anybody in opposition? There being no others to speak for or against the bar and grill license number 14, I now declare the public hearing closed. Chair to entertain a motion to approve the application for the new bar and grill liquor license number 14 for Gruner Brothers Brewing, doing business as Sparks, located at 150 West 2nd Street. Moved by Councilor McIntosh, seconded by Councilor Sweeney. Any discussion by the council? Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Sweeney.
Mayor, I'd just like to thank you for coming. In case anybody had questions, it's remarkable to me how many times nobody's here to ask anything of, except staff. And so really appreciate you coming and diving into this. So, and appreciate your comments. I look forward to that too.
Any other comments? Please cast your vote. Counselor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With Counselor Pollock abstaining and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations, guys. We'll wait for Counselor Pollock to return. Come on in, you're good. Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance approving a zone change for Lot 4, Methodist Church Addition Subdivision in the city of Casper, Wyoming.
Chair to entertain a motion to approve on third reading the ordinance just read. Moved by Councilor McIntosh, seconded by Councilor Pollock. At this time, council will listen to public comment on this item. Any public comment? Any discussion from the council? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Councilor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Council will now discuss the resolution regarding a mineral royalty grant agreement. Because this is not on the consent agenda, it will be open for discussion by the council. Please read the resolution by title only.
Authorizing a mineral royalty grant agreement between the state of Wyoming, state lands and investments, and the city of Casper.
The chair to entertain a motion to approve the resolution just read. Moved by Councilor McIntosh, seconded by Councilor Pollock. Madam City Manager, do you have a report?
Mayor, I do. We are pleased to tell you that on February 5th, the State Lands and Investment Board did award an $800,000 mineral royalty grant to the city of Casper to replace priority water mains. We anticipate replacing in 4 major locations. The first is on Poplar Street between 25th and 29th Street, replacing 1,600 feet of iron water main. 29th Street is the second location between Poplar and Kaufman, replacing 900 feet of iron water main. Yellowstone Highway will receive a replacement of 1,100 feet of water main. And finally, at Jim Bridger Drive, 645 feet to be replaced between DeSmit Street and Bel Air Street. We have appropriated funds in the budget already for this project in the amount of $2,048,665. So with this $800,000 grant from the state, that will bring our total water main replacement work for the year to $2.85 million. We recommend favorably for your approval.
Thank you. Any discussion by the council? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Councilor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Council will now consider consent resolutions. Please read the consent resolutions by title only.
10B1, approving and adopting the Safe Routes to School Plan update for the Casper metropolitan area. 10B2, authorizing amendment number 1 to the contract for professional services between the City of Casper and Dewberry Engineers Incorporated. 10B3, approving a non-exclusive facility rental agreement between the City of Casper and Casper Baseball Club for the use of Mike Lansing Stadium. 10B4, authorizing the execution of an M3A access application for a temporary access permit with the Wyoming Department of Transportation for access to 123 West 1st Street. And 10B5, authorizing an improvements agreement with Wade H. Kendall for construction of water main and water services on Bryan Evansville Road.
Thank you. The chair to entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda items just read. Moved by Counselor Sweeney, seconded by Counselor McIntosh. Madam City Manager, would you like to comment on any of these items?
No additional report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any abstentions or nay votes from the council? Please cast your vote. Counselor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please read the consent minute action title.
Authorizing the appointment of Stephanie Whitfield to the Amico Reuse Agreement Joint Powers.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda item just read. Moved by Counselor McIntosh, seconded by Counselor Haskins. Any abstentions or nay votes? Please cast your vote. Counselor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
At this time, we ask counselors to bring forward any relevant concerns or any items of interest. Counselor Sweeney, can we start with you? Oh, you know what? Let's start with Counselor Bond. Counselor Bond, do you have anything?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Nothing. I'm assuming this answer will come pretty quickly, but about the when the consideration on the resolution regarding the open container hours. But it sounds like we may be going to a work session about that topic, so I would support that discussion at a work session.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Sweeney.
I felt all alone down here. Thank you, man. So,
You got an Amber by you.
yeah. So,
Sorry, Pat.
So last week, the block party that the police department put together with all the other agencies involved, I thought was pretty remarkable. I don't know what the final count was, but it looked like a lot. I left there and went to the Amico Reuse Joint Powers Board meeting, but which we had a lot of different discussions around the course and business, but believe now that we've got past the snowstorm, things will get back on track and close to budget. The next day, I attended the morning session of the Labor, Health, and Social Services Committee held here in town at the Thyra Thompson State Office Building. In the morning, it was great discussion around the rural healthcare part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, allocated basically over a period of time close to 800 million, but our plan has hit some roadblocks, but the Department of Health and the governor are working through those, and I think we'll get approved here shortly. Unfortunately, the perpetuity fund did not make the cut, and so the long-term viability of all of that sustainability, hopefully the legislature might look at replacing some funds that perpetuity fund would have bolstered for future generations. The next subject was maternal health care, and again, good conversation. I had other things going the next day and a half, and so I was only listening in. Later that night, Casper College Foundation had recognition of two different folks, and that was a nice function. I guess that would have been Thursday night. Saturday, along with unbelievable crowd for Funky Junk. I mean, wow. That's really blossomed with Whitney's leadership and guidance for downtown and David Street Station and surrounding blocks. I ended up having to park up on David up towards St. Anthony's to find a parking spot. So, but huh?
I was in the parking garage, Counselor.
Oh, I forgot about
he
that.
was. It was free on the weekend.
It was?
Yeah.
I missed it.
And plenty of room, Counselor.
And before I went to Funky Junk, I went to one of the opening days for Among Friends, adult daycare. And if you get a chance, it's absolutely amazing. Becky Bozes came to council and told us of her goals. It's phenomenal what she did with the remodel of the business and the building. And I wish her great success. She was waiting on a couple of last inspections so that she could open, both from, I took it, the Department of Health, State Department of Health on licensing, even though she won't get any possibility through Medicaid or Medicare. It still has to be licensed through the state. And then I took it, there was a couple of last details with the city, but I'm not positive about that. Hopefully that all got worked out. Then from there, I went out to the Wyoming Veterans Museum, reopened. They just did a great job of freshening that up and painting and redoing the floors, the exterior, some new parking, and that was well attended to, and some great cookies. So then Monday I had the council of, I don't know if it's called the Disabilities Council, but no, yeah, and so there was talk about doing, I think next year, April 28th, doing a wider collaboration utilizing the rec center, and they're supposed to get with you, Zalima, and try to figure that out. And then last night I had the Fair Board meeting, and don't forget, chalk art kicks things off actually on July 4th, and downtown, and then the rodeo starts right after the parade day on July 7th. Of course, a huge celebration across the country, including Casper, bar none, and Mills on the 4th of July with fireworks in a big celebration up at the event center. And today was regional water, and normally I can bail out and let somebody else do that, but
No, but I was remote, so
yeah.
I'll do my best.
So it was a number of things went through, and a lot of different things approved as far as some different contracts. I think we also reviewed the fiscal year 27 rate model and agreed to kind of a steady 3% increase on the wholesale water. And my understanding is, and our public works director was there, but my understanding is some of the restrictions around the river have been lifted, at least to us. And so at this point in time, regional water is not looking at placing watering restrictions on the different municipalities. We don't serve, regional water does not serve Evansville or Mills, but everything else we do service. So I think hopefully you can add to it. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Pollack.
Thank you. Last week had a Parks and Rec Advisory Board committee meeting from the user groups of Hogadon. So you can probably anticipate the reports that they made to us, but for the most part, people, like thematically, people saw reductions in their, their ability to host their events, their clubs, their practices, trainings, etc. Pretty dramatically. Some reporting like 60 to 70% declines, but also a lot of praise for the team up there and the staff. Pretty much across the board, each user group appreciated how much work was going into creating the conditions that were available that kept, at least the basics of what those groups are trying to accomplish intact. And there was, I think, a shared understanding that really, given the conditions, we had the best result that we could hope for, given the conditions, thanks to the hard work that folks were putting up there, and the planning and the coordinating of runs and all the various things that went into just trying to maintain any usable conditions up there at all. So that's the report we got there. And then regional water, Pat really did cover it. I think the main thing that is of interest to this group would be that preliminary review of the rate model. As you know, regional water sets the wholesale rate, which impacts our rates. And so similar philosophy there, though, is just trying to prevent dramatic or sudden rate increases by projecting out into the out years and trying to kind of keep up with needed rate adjustments year over year, rather than suddenly find ourselves in a position of needing to implement steeper rate increase. And so it looks pretty good if we stick to about 3% rate increase every year. It looks to be that we'll be in good shape to address capital needs and that sort of thing, with maybe some further in the out years approaching mandated reserve limits or thresholds. But the group agreed that was far enough off that we could make small adjustments as needed, but felt pretty good about 3%. So we didn't take any formal action on that yet, but it was just a preliminary review. So a little bit of a preview for you. And LGBTQ advisory was canceled this month due to a lot of scheduling conflicts and lack of folks being able to attend. That notified us that they wouldn't be there, and so we did cancel it and just moved to an email update, which was predominantly related to next month, June being Pride Month, and the advisory committee's participation in that, which will, for the most part, be centered around an event on, let me get this right, Sunday, June 14th, a pool party. So that is where the advisory committee will be focusing their efforts in terms of supporting that event. Yep.
It's not often that my work gets in the way of my counsel. They're usually pretty good, but unfortunately, I did have to miss my drug court meeting this week, and I didn't make it to the block party, so I have to get arrested or put in a cop car some other time, but I know a guy. It'll be fine. Pat already mentioned Funky Junk, so I won't point that out, although I did have a hard time finding parking, but there's this parking garage that I utilized when I went to the Fleetwood Mac show. Tusk. Anyways, free on the weekends, Pat. You should try it. So much parking there. It's like you go in this little circle and there's just all these spots. Which brings me to, while I was at Funky Junk, there's like this open container all over the place. And I feel like Mike almost suggested it, but didn't quite get there. So I would like to request that maybe we have that conversation one more time about the boundaries for the open container.
I have a couple things to say about it, but we'll make an official.
Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, yeah. No. I've got a couple things. So just scheduling wise.
Do what you gotta do.
So, Counselor Jensen.
I'm just trying to recap. I had to look at my calendar, but nothing that really hasn't already been mentioned that I participated in. I did have a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce on Monday, and let's see, tomorrow I have the 250th for the 4th of July planning party for the city. So to be announced what's happening there, but otherwise just go to visit Casper and they have everything listed. They're compiling a list of all the activities throughout the month of July in celebration of the 250th. And then gearing up for CNFR because that's going to be here before you know it too. So I think it was the 18th through the 20th, if I remember correctly, of June. So get your cowboy boots ready there, Pat. We're just picking on you tonight, I guess. Cowboy boots and hat, Boss Hog. I still think you should do Boss Hog. Thanks. That's it.
All right. Had a fairly boring week, but this morning I attended our Economic Development Joint Powers Board meeting. We had a report from Shelby Krause with Compete Casper. She gave us a quick update on school sports tournaments. They just signed a new 4-year contract to hold 8 Wyoming high school sports tournaments here in Casper. These tournaments, they just found out the economic impact. They have a $24 million economic impact on our local economy. E às vezes, como governo, a gente fala uma língua que ninguém entende. So I said, at times, government entities, we speak language that somebody doesn't understand. So just to kind of put it into perspective, economic impact of $24 million, that means that about 5 restaurants, 5 hotels, and 2 or 3 retail establishments are able to stay in business because of these tournaments. So I think it's important that we keep these tournaments coming with 10 to 200 employees in each of those businesses. That's quite a few people who earn their living because of the economic impact that these tournaments bring. And then that, so if you like our restaurants and our new big box stores, thank a high school student that plays sports. The largest portion of the funding for this for Compete Casper comes from private donors, along with donations from 5 local restaurants to feed the kids and the parents at some of these events, and thousands of hours of volunteer time from families and community members. So I'd like to thank all the community members that volunteer at these events. It makes a huge difference in the city. So they will also, because of the tennis courts, it's kind of cool that we talked tennis today, because the tennis courts will be building at Washington Park. That's going to increase to be able to bring some more tournaments into town as well. So then we also heard from Melissa Huguet from the Downtown Development Authority. She gave us a quick report on some of the stuff that they've got going and showed us the cool lights that they're going to be putting on some of the trees on 2nd Street. That they're going to be a great addition to downtown. I'm excited to see all the different colors and displays they're going to be able to do on those trees. It's going to be pretty cool. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you to Counselor McIntosh for making that EDJPB meeting earlier today. I was able to catch about 30 minutes of it, but had a work commitment that I had to bail out on, so it sounds like I missed the majority of it. So I appreciate that update. Thank you also to Counselor Haskins for offering up the open container ordinance. I would agree with Counselor Pollack in her comments earlier that this has been a piecemeal approach and not as evidence-based and kind of informed as I would like these things to be. But hopefully, we have another discussion or two about it and we can try to get it as close to ideal as possible. It's a work in progress. I appreciate Kylene and Heather coming to speak on behalf of the DCBA in support of the changes they would like to see made. I would also, though, like to open it up. You, I believe, had just asked for expanding boundaries. Failure on my part, did not realize that we adjusted the hours not only for Saturday, but also Thursday and Friday. And so, I would kind of like full scope conversation about hours and boundaries because I'm not sure. I guess I would welcome feedback from DCBA and I'll reach out to Melissa at DDA as far as whether merchants downtown see the benefit of 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thursday and Friday. Because I thought in years past, the discussion was mostly centered on just expanding hours on Saturday. So I guess I would just ask for that to be included in that conversation. Really, the only city commitments I had the past week, I was at the WAM board meeting in Lander last Thursday and Friday. I'll try to keep it brief, but we discussed the previous legislative session and the year with our new director, Ashley Harpstreet, on board. The organization is very happy with the increased sponsorships, the revenue, the attendance, the engagement, and the legislative success that WAM had this last session. If you've ever met Ashley, very spirited, energetic, way more stamina than I could ever hope to have. But she's been a great asset to that organization and made sure that we stay as productive and as engaged as possible. They've added members to their team, and they're now offering a few different things like accounting services to smaller towns and municipalities. Shari is a former board member and also the former treasurer from Lander. She's now on staff, and she's helping smaller towns with their accounting, saving them a ton of money, filing their necessary forms and acting as a resource. Matt Murdoch, the president of WAM, and the mayor of Pinedale, he's also helping to stand up a pilot program to help towns with digitization of their ordinances and their permitting process. WAM, that is developing a multi-tiered professional development program for city and county elected officials through a partnership with LCCC. The first tier would be boot camps for first-time officials, which they've done, previous iterations of in the past. It also includes a quarterly webinar series on topics like understanding the budget, community engagement, and social media training, land use, emergency management. And then each tier above that gets progressively more advanced, ending in tier 4, which is a 13-month-long Wyoming Certified Public Manager program. And I think this is all born out of the desire to ensure that elected officials understand their roles and responsibilities. The legislature just recently mandated financial training for elected officials. And so this is kind of creating a much more comprehensive and advanced training and development effort so that elected officials can continually improve in their education and experience and become more, successful and productive officials. We took a tour of Maven, which is a really impressive direct-to-consumer optics company. They make scopes for handheld use for rifles and also rangefinders for golf. They were a beneficiary of the Wyoming Business Council BRC program, and they're now doing $16 million in annual sales. It's a really cool company. Really dug the workplace culture that they have there. They're outdoor oriented, and so they have a archery range inside that they do. They close early on Fridays for a company-wide putt-putt tournament. They take October 1st off because it's first day of the elk season. So just it was really cool to take a tour of that company and get to meet the people behind it. We discussed the agenda and plans for summer conference. It also sounds really exciting with a lot of great breakout sessions and tours. So I would encourage you to register for that if you can make it. That will be in Laramie. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just have a few things. Vice Mayor and I will be at the Council of Governments on Thursday morning at 7. On Saturday, I addressed the Alpha Delta Kappa of Wyoming for their annual convention that they had. If you don't know what Alpha Delta Kappa is, it's about educators, new educators, active teachers, retired professionals. And it was a great opportunity to sit down and talk and welcome them to Casper. Some from Alaska and other places that were speaking. Was able to talk about education and the importance of education and what it does, and continued support from the state legislature, the continued support of local communities, and local control of boards, school boards. So that was great. Funky Junk, went to that as well. Parked in the parking garage. It worked great, Pat. If you want to, right afterward, you and I can go over and I'll show you. I was blown away by the amount of people that had that were attending it. It certainly had to feel. I think the vice mayor and I were just chatted really quickly. I think it was you that said, was it you that, maybe it wasn't, had mentioned that reminding them of San Antonio and the downtown area, good, bad, or indifferent, in the sense that it's the culture in the downtown is pretty amazing. Secondly, probably one of the greatest things I'll take away from being on council is being instrumental in helping to get Davis Street Station off the ground. It's a crown jewel here for us in the city, and Funky Junk just solidified that for us. I attended the block party for the police, was able to wave at the chief. He was furiously handing out hot dogs and hamburgers. It was lovely to see you doing that type of work, sir. I was trying to get better reaction out of you, Chief. I'm sorry. That's it. And then I think I had mentioned I did 2 swearing in for lateral police officers. So that was really great. Chief, will you remind me where they're from again? Yeah, so Converse County and Shatter, Nebraska. So they were great. Seemed like they're going to be a great addition to the police department. So we were talking about the open container. A couple things I just wanted to bring up. I'm in favor of bringing it back to a work session. However, it's on our resolution for June 2nd to do the resolution. So we would have to make some adjustments on that and be able to hold it for the first week or the first work session in June, and then potentially look at that resolution on June 16th. Is that about right? What I'm saying? Right. So we'd have to skip the budget sessions and then go into the next round. So if that's okay with everybody to do that on the first work session of June, and table the work session or the official meeting to pass the resolution on the 2nd, forego that, and then do that on the 16th instead. Does that sound okay? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense. I was just thinking art walk for June, for the June. That's what I thought. That's why I think pass on a new resolution.
Adam, City Manager.
I think, Mayor, the consensus is we can certainly do that if that is the direction you like to go to be a little more expedient.
Okay.
Yeah, either that or it just stays the same. Stay the same 3 hours downtown.
So my understanding then is we pass it on the 2nd as is. And then come back to look at expanding it, or I guess I'm trying to understand.
It's a standing, yeah, Mayor, you have a standing resolution that took effect early May.
You have the standing resolution. We could bring forward the version that you had discussed on the 14th.
On the
12th.
The 12th?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm following. Am I completely lost? Does anybody want to explain it to me? I feel like I'm doing algebra right now in my head, and it was not good. My dad would yell at me constantly about it. Vice Mayor.
So my understanding is that I put my laptop away already, dang it. Otherwise I'd be fact checking this. But my understanding is the standing resolution is what, we rolled with last year, and it would have the reduced hours beginning at 5 p.m. So I guess the caveat, if we don't pass this upcoming one and extend it, is that we're prolonging for several more weeks the extended hours on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I believe that's the impact that it would have. So.
Okay. So alternatives, then say that again.
So the new resolution that you had discussed on the 12th extended the hours, but not the boundaries. So we could pass a resolution on the 2nd to allow for those extended hours
Gotcha.
and
Okay,
then
now I'm
come
following.
back to discuss the boundary issue.
Perfect. Is council okay with that? Let's do that. Okay, perfect. All right, sounds good. Whew. I looked at Krista there because I know she's good at math, and I told her when I was talking to her, I'm like, I wasn't very good at math in school, so complex systems don't get me. I don't get it very well. Anyway, piecemeal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right. The next. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So, I was just going to ask the chief at the block party. So, in the past, the cookies were purchased, but it appeared that I don't know if it was staff or volunteers baked an awful lot of chocolate chip cookies, and I don't know if and I don't know if they baked the cupcakes also, but I don't know if that was volunteers or staff members of the police department or how that.
Why you need the recipe or what?
No. Classified information. No, it was just a nice touch, I thought. So, appreciate it.
Like trying to take the secret formula of a Krabby Patty. Kylie, I hope that made sense. If it didn't, we'll grab you really quick to kind of explain what we're going to try to do. All right, you betcha. Yep. I was looking at your face in confusion, so I was sharing in that with you. Yeah. Next meeting of the City Council will be a budget work session to be held at 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May 26th and 27th. A special meeting will be held on May 27th and a regular council meeting to be held at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, June 2nd. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting. Moved by Councilor McIntosh, seconded by Councilor Pollock. Please cast your vote. Councilor Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.